Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the Daily Office Lectionary. And today is Monday, July 25th, and July 25th is the feast of St. James the Greater. Now, not to be confused with St. James the Less, of course, who we celebrated along with St. Philip back on May 1st. This St. James is the brother of John, right, the beloved disciple. And the two of them were fishermen along with Peter. Just the other day, we talked about their call to ministry, fishing together. So anyway, I thought today, for Monday, we would go ahead and take a look at the lesson that's assigned from the first the first book of Samuel. Remember Saturday, we talked about the beginning of the story with Hannah, and she's praying at the temple, and she is in sorrow because she has no children. She's not being able to have children, and she's made a prayer. She's promised that if God would open up her womb, that she would dedicate that child to the service of the Lord. And so we pick up where that left off, with Eli, the high priest, being witness to her being there praying. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she'd been drunken. And Eli said unto her, How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away the wine from thee. And Hannah answered and said, No, my Lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thy handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. And they rose up in the morning early and worshipped before the Lord, and returned and came to their house in Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Therefore it came to pass, when the time was come, about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. Now, of course, and Samuel will become the great prophet who will ultimately, Eli plays a big part of the story. Eli's wicked sons, Phinehas and Hophni, they become a big part of the story. But ultimately, Samuel becomes this great prophet. I don't want to spoil it for you. You're allowed to read ahead in the book if you want, in the rest of the book of Samuel. But he becomes the great prophet who then helps Israel to figure out their way back to the Lord when they have fallen away from the practice of the covenant, and ultimately anoints the king, both Saul, the original king, and then David, who would become the heir, of course. The heir to the throne of David will be Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Son of the living God. So how about that? Anyway, so that's why this is so important. We can both see the faithfulness of God to the people of Israel. We can see their unfaithfulness and in turning away from God, and how God keeps coming back to them through Samuel. All sorts of wonderful stories coming up, folks. So please do join us, not just on our meditations, but please do open your Bibles and read, right? Open it and read. Open it and read. Open it and read, as the Spirit said to St. Augustine, if we've read our book, The Confessions, right? Okay, so today is Monday, 12:15, Holy Communion. God willing, we'll see you in church.